Sitting. That's good. My name's Dave. I'm one of the pastors here at Paradox, and I just want to go back to some of the words that we just sang. Heal my heart, make it clean, show me how to love as you have loved me, okay? Sarah shared this word that God's steadfast love never changes. We sang, you're never going to let me down. And especially when we're in a series that can be a little bit about like, all right, I'm going to give, I'm going to serve. That's what we've been doing. The last few weeks, we've been going through 1 Corinthians. We're talking about what love does and saying it builds, it gives. But there's a certain place that we want to start today, especially if you're unaware, if you haven't experienced Jesus, the love of Jesus. We want to start there because a whole lot of us have given ourselves to different things, to career, to relationships, to personal success, whatever it is that some of us we've given ourselves to ministry stuff and good things, and we've been let down. Here's the truth. Everything else will fail you. Everyone else. I will fail you. Do not put your hope in Dave Kubiak. I'm sorry that's news to you. Okay? It's like, I've been doing way too good of a job, apparently. I need to let some more of you guys down to point you to Jesus, okay? Because he's the only one that's never going to let you down. And so today, as we talk about staying in the game, getting in the game, staying in the game, loving, giving, serving, we want to start there and say, if you are here today and you have not experienced a God who loves you, who's never going to let you down, who serves, who gives, who never fails you, his mercies are new every single morning. We even said, no matter where you've come from, no matter what you've done, the good, the bad, the ugly, there's no perfect people allowed here. And so, Jesus will never leave you. He will never forsake you. He loves you. And it's not because of what you've done. Neither the good nor the bad. It is only because of his love. That is what love does. Jesus gave himself while we were still sinners for you. And we receive that love and we give it away. That's where we started this series, with the love of Jesus and receiving it. And then we said love builds other people up. So many times when we get together from church, one of the most frequent, criticisms, I'll say that, frequent criticisms of the church is that stuff like this is exactly why people don't want to be here. It seems self-serving. Oh, church is all about your money, all about getting involved, giving, volunteering and everything. That seems really, really self-serving. Here's what I would say to that. How can serving others be self-serving? We want to serve others. We want to build God's kingdom. Jesus served us so that we can turn around and love others. That's what he said. I want you to love God and then love other people. That is serving other people. We build his kingdom. We build other people up. And how we do that is exactly what we've been talking about throughout the book of 1 Corinthians and in this series. We build other people up. That's what love does. We honor them and we create a culture of honor. And then last week, Mateo shared about love, 1 Corinthians 13. We just call it Love 13. We'll rename it, because you've heard it. In every single wedding you've ever been to, love is patient, love is kind. Here's what that means. Love is patient and keeps being patient even when it's easy to be impatient, okay? If you've been to church, then you know it can be difficult to be patient and kind and all these other things. Maybe you've even experienced some of that, like people let you down. People have been rude, whatever it is. No, that's not the love of Jesus. So we want more of that. We want to receive more of that so that we can give it away. That's where we're going today. Today we're talking about specifically how you can get in the game. How you can be a part of this thing. Why? Well, because on a day like today, there are two words that I think are on everybody's mind. You know what they are? Wrong. Who cares? That's what's on my mind anyway. Who cares about this, I felt bad, actually. I was like, I don't even want to watch this thing. Who cares about this? Let me ask you this, though, honestly. I know there's a whole lot of disappointed fans in here today. Wouldn't this game have been better if we cared? Yes. It'd be a lot more fun when you care, right? The fantasy football season, here's one of the beautiful things about it. I care for ridiculous reasons, admittedly, about every single game. Why? Because I'm bought in. I own it. Like there's energy, there's excitement. I've got a piece of this action. I need this win. I need this guy to score the touchdown. When you care, when you're bought in, things are a lot more exciting. But a whole lot of us, I'm just going to be real today. Is that good? Okay, I'm glad. Permission. That's good. All right. Hey, you said. A whole lot of us, we're just on the sidelines of our faith. We're like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not involved. Today, get in the game. That's where we're going, because things are way more exciting when you're a part of it. There's more energy, there's more passion, there's more life. You get to celebrate the wins instead of just seeing everybody else do it all the time. There's absolutely the agony of defeat, but there is the thrill of victory that's available. This is the life that Jesus talks about, life to the full. When you get off the sidelines and get into the game. If you've ever watched the Super Bowl, right, there's this moment at the end, though, where all kinds of people run out onto the field. There's 53 people on a team. Every time I see this, I go, who the heck are these people, right? Everybody running out. It's not just the people with jerseys on. There's business executives that are walking out, coaches, trainers, third cousins or something. I don't even know who all is coming out after a Super Bowl victory. But what we see in that moment, what you will see tonight, for better or worse, one of these teams, yay, is going to win the Super Bowl. And when they do, you will see hundreds of people on that field, most of whom you have absolutely no idea who they are, what they do, why they're there, any of that stuff. But the reality is, it took every single one of them to get to that point. You know the names of a few. You see the glories of a few. But the team is the one that contributes to the victory. And the team is so much bigger. It took the contributions of every single person. Church is the same. That's why Paul, in his letter to the Corinthian church, says, I want you to build each other up. Use all these good gifts that God has given you. Use them for the good of others, to build up the body. It takes everybody. You, if you were sitting here today, if you know Jesus, he has given you, he's brought you into his body, the church, so that you can contribute. He's given you unique talents, passions, spiritual gifts, abilities, experiences. Yes, all of this stuff works together. God has knitted you together in such a way that you have something to contribute that I cannot contribute. And I need you, and you need me, and it's this beautiful state of not codependence, but interdependence, where we get to build one another up. Everyone is uniquely placed to contribute something. We mentioned already that our Rev students, junior and high school students, are away on a retreat, and it brings me back in some ways to the days when my wife and I would do student ministries. And we would try to have meals together, but cooking or baking, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't do it, all right? I could see that Gwen, this is a struggle. She's trying to make everybody all this food, and she did a great job. But we started saying to the students, we want you to all bring something, okay? And so we would start doing a taco night or hot dogs, different things like that, simple stuff. And so one day we said, we're gonna make pizza. We're gonna make pizza together. Pretty simple, right? Should be. You would think. I did not know it was possible to have pizza without sauce, but we did that night. Because there was a unique contribution that someone had to make, and wouldn't you know it, that person did not make their contribution. Those are called breadsticks, y'all. All right? So we had breadsticks that night. It was fine. But everybody has something to contribute, but there's a flip side to this. This is the tension, right? Because we can say, all right, everybody gets to contribute. Everybody needs to be in the game if we're going to see the victory that Jesus has for us and the excitement of being in it. There is another side, though, and that is uncontrolled chaos, right? Have you ever tried, here's the phrase, herding cats. Have you ever been to a community dinner where there was no theme? It's it's a church potluck. What's going to show up? That's why the word luck is in there. It's luck. You better hope you get lucky, and there's something that's good. you know, because who knows? It's just the luck of the pot of what's going to be in there, right? You can sense like, oh, you bought bean dip, and oh yes, I don't know what would not go good with bean dip. You know, there's just herding cats sometimes when everyone is contributing something, but there's absolutely no direction. There's two ways to fail. Number one, when no one is involved, and number two, when everyone is involved but doing whatever they want. Right? Either way, it's not going to go well. Here in the month of February, my thoughts often go back to Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement. This was a beautiful movement. That's what a movement is. It's not just one person's thing, but everyone in different places is getting involved and bringing their gifts, their perspectives, and moving in the same direction. The power of the civil rights movement did not come only because everyone was getting involved. It came because there was clear direction of where this momentum should go. There was leadership, there was vision, there was direction, there was clarity going this way. And it takes both things. We're not just supposed to build each other up, but momentum builds when it goes in a direction. That's what we're talking about here today. Love moves. It moves us from being a consumer to being a contributor. It moves us from chaos into clarity. What does this mean? Sometimes people get very frustrated when they maybe have an idea or something, and they want this thing to happen. Okay, I've been in church world for a long time. Maybe you have too, and you've seen this happen. We want this thing to happen at this time in this way. And then when we're trying to make some order out of this and go in a direction, there's frustration. And we'll say things like, oh, there's just too much red tape. I just can't get involved around here or something. Like, hey, we got to move in the same direction together. On the other hand, of course, we could keep on showing up and be like, man, they keep on asking me to do stuff. I don't want to do any of that stuff. You know? I don't want, I'm not here to contribute. That's okay for a season. It's okay for a season. Usually when we talk in membership, though, about all of this stuff, well, I don't know why. I'm not even into basketball, but I'll bring up basketball. And I'll say church is a lot like a basketball arena where all of these people are showing up to the game. And some are there for the popcorn. That's always going to be me, okay? Especially at a basketball game. Some are there for the popcorn. They're just there for the experience. Some people are on the sideline, like they want to cheer, you know, like they're doing. Some of them are coaches, some of them are refs, some of them are cheerleaders, some of them are players. And when we talk about membership, being a part of this body here, we're saying we want to know which one you are. If you want to show up and just be a spectator for a little bit, that's okay. We want you to experience the love of Jesus. And we're here to help. We're here to serve you. But let us know, because you're going to get really, really frustrated when I keep throwing you the ball and it spills your popcorn, you know? Like that's going to be very frustrating for everybody involved. In the same way, if you're like, hey, I showed up to play. I want to get in the game. That's when players request trades. They're like, I want to get in. I want to contribute, you know? So membership is just this talk of like, all right, why are we here? We want to contribute and we want to head in the same direction. That's what 1 Corinthians 12 says. We're going to move into this, all right? 1 Corinthians 12, verses 4 to 7, it says, now, there are varieties of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are varieties of service, but the same Lord. And there are varieties of activities, and it is the same God who empowers them all and everyone. To each is given a manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. Do you hear this back and forth? There's a variety, but the same. There's a variety, but the same. To each is given a manifestation for the common good. Everyone contributes for a common goal. See how these two things are going together here. There's clarity being brought from chaos, and there's contribution that's being requested from just consumership, all right? Love gets in the game. That's the point of it. You've got something to contribute. Get in the game. Get on the team. Move in the direction because you're necessary. You're needed. God he's looking, he's calling, he's like, who will I do this? Who will do my work? Who will build my kingdom? That's what Isaiah 6:8 says. God is actually, in Isaiah, he's looking around, he's saying, man, there's this work that needs to be done in the world. Who can I send? Who will go for me? And after this time where Isaiah's like, oh, God, purify my heart, like I want to be right with you, receives that from the Lord, but then he says, all right, here am I. Here am I. Send me. Love gets in the game. Love steps up. Love doesn't wait for someone else to step up. Instead, it is compelled to contribute. The church today, I'm sorry, like there's so many of us who are just sitting on the sideline and we have all these excuses. Oh, I'd love to, but I can't right now. I've got to work. I've got school. I've got kids. This is just not the season. That is my favorite one. And there are some seasons where it's okay to take a step and to rest and receive. The heart of God, though, is that we would serve in a sustainable manner. It's sustainable service. So it's not that we're going 200%, 0, 200, 0. That's not steadfast. It's a steadfast, sustainable service, like breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out, where we step in and we serve. We take a little step back and just, all right, now here's the rest of the week. Here's my Sabbath day. Here's my time with God. Here's my day off when I come to church. All of these things are important. Both things can be true. We shouldn't be going so hard that we're like, oh my gosh, I hear this word all the time, I'm burnt out. Don't burn out. Don't do that. Like this, some things can just be simple. Don't do that, okay? We're not going to schedule you all the time. I promise. But just, all right, I'm in, I'm out. We want to be after sustainable service. Gets in the game. It's compelled to contribute. Why? Because of love. This is not duty. This is not obligation. The other day, I had this great idea to take my kids sledding, all right? So it's Friday. Maybe some of you already know where this is going because it was post-ice storm. Sounds fun to me. All right? So we go to the sledding hill. It is absolutely covered with ice. You should have seen me trying to walk up this hill, all right? It's like, I look like a cartoon where my feet are like just going in circles underneath me, So we're all trying to go up. We finally get to the top. Eventually, man, my youngest, Nora, she is so brave. She is so strong. I look over, and she is literally like standing on her sled, just flying down the hill and everything. I'm like, don't do that again. If I say not to do that again, don't do that again. Okay, so she goes down, but then eventually, she was fine on that one, but it's the walking part, apparently, because she goes to walk back up, and she fell down. She stands up. Of course, parents, you know where this is going. She's bleeding. The night's over, But in that moment, she stood up, and she is crying, and she's saying, I fell. I'm bleeding. Let me ask you, in that moment, what does love do? It compels you to respond, right? I may respond in a certain way because I'm her dad and I love her. I am down that hill. I am reaching my girl. But some other stranger, I mean, gosh, if you have any amount of love in you, it compels you to respond. If you saw a little girl standing there alone, you'd say, are you okay? Where are your parents? Right? Love compels a response. But we've bought into this lie in our culture that love is this vague feeling or some sort of belief in God that doesn't actually require anything of you or compel any sort of response. This is what Jesus said, if you love me, obey my commands. If you love me, if you follow me, feed my sheep. Love without action is dead, or faith, belief without action is dead. Love compels a response. This is what love does. It gets in the game. It gets its hands dirty. It serves. It's what Jesus did for you, and it's what he asks us to do for each other. Love gets in the game. Are you sitting on the sidelines of your faith? Does this feel boring to you? Like real talk today? If so, perhaps it's because God has something more, an adventure, excitement waiting for you if you will only get up and step into the game. Some of us would say, all right, I've got the vision, but I don't know how. I'll give you a 5-step real quick, all right? Here's number 1, ask. This when my kids come to me and they're like, I'm bored. I'm like, do you want me to give you something to do? It's like, ask. Just ask, okay? That's not exactly what we're talking about here today. You're like, oh, I don't want to ask my Heavenly Father for something to do. You can ask him. He actually has good things for you, life-giving, works that he has prepared in advance for each one of us to do that will give you life, good things, okay? You can ask him. He wants to give them to you. Especially, Jesus said this too. Ask anything in my name. It will be given to you. If you say, God, how can I serve you? Is there any way? He's going to be like, I'm not telling. No, I don't know. Like, God, I just want to serve you today. How can I do that? He will give you that answer. I promise you. All right, here's a way that could help you. The SHAPE assessment. We've put this together. It's a way for you to figure out, all right, what might my spiritual gifts be if I'm a follower of Jesus, if I'm in him? What is my heart? What are my abilities? What are my passions? What are my experiences? It is an assessment. It's not going to give you the answer. It's going to give you some things to reflect on. That's the third one. You can reflect on this, and then you can discuss it. If you're in a life group, this is a great place to discuss it. There are people in your life that know you and see you and should be able to speak into this. Like when I say, oh gosh, I don't know. What's something that I'm not very good at, Gwen? She's being gracious because there's a lot. Oh yeah, she says she can't think of anything, But if I said, I think that my spiritual gift is something that's just not, whatever that is, like she would be able to say, in love, no, right? No, Dave, your spiritual gift is not doing the baking or being cool with a messy house. Like I'm not there, like I can't. I might say it, but no, it's not true. Like I'm gonna lose my mind. So I have to pick up the vacuum. I have to do the things. That's not saying anything about anybody else. I'm weird. I'm obsessive, okay? Me, problem. But other people know you. They see you. They can speak into your life. So have some people that are able to do that. People that love you but love Jesus more. And then, here's the kicker. Try. Just try something. Like maybe you go through and you're like, yeah, I really think singing is my thing. Well, I don't know. You get up there and try it, and people are like, hopefully we caught this before in like the discussion section of things. But like you might try and be like, no, that was not for me. That's why we just try stuff, okay? You don't have to sign your life away. Get in the game. Try something out. Start thinking about it, okay? Here's number 2. Love gets in the game. Number 2, though, love doesn't compete. It completes. Love doesn't compete. It completes. Here's what 1 Corinthians 12, verse 21 to 26 says about that. The eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you. Nor again, the head to the feet, I have no need of you. On the contrary, the parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable. And on those parts of the body that we think less honorable, we bestow greater honor. That means like all these people, that's not really important. That's not necessary. We go, no. You have no idea how necessary this part is. We need you. We honor you, okay? Every part. I love those first lines. The eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you. The opposite is true. That's what this is saying. Actually, you need each other. It's not a competition. The body's not in competition with one another. It's a contribution. Every part contributes to the whole. That's what love does. Love celebrates. Love supports. Love contributes. There's no competition. It's not, I don't need you. I'm the eye. I'm the hand. I want to bring up my friend Rory because I don't play football. I know, like, look at me. You wouldn't know this, but Rory does. Rory did, and he did. Okay, I see the look. All right, so Rory was a Chippewa Valley superstar. I kid you not, I asked my adult friend Rory one time to teach me how to throw a spiral. All right, it was a nice moment. Thank you, buddy. Give it up for Rory and being willing to come over here. All right, now, Rory was a lineman. So if I ran at him with clearly this professional football, if I ran at him, he would block me, right? I would be on the ground. All right, but let's see how well you do with one foot. Right? There you go. See, suddenly my jukes are unstoppable now, right? Why? Because he's without a part, right? You can't say, you know what, I'm so big, I'm so strong, I don't need you, leg. Like, no, he needs the leg. How about catching the football, though, right? Pretty easy to catch this, 2 hands. But let's go with 1 hand. I'm not Odell Beckham Jr., right? You only use 1 hand and things will get a little bit more difficult. Now, Rory, I just told you, he can throw a spiral pass. He knows how to throw. But can he hit me with his eyes closed? Do you think he can? Yeah? I mean, okay, hold on a second. Let's change this up. Can I hit him with my eyes closed? All right. Well, he was gracious. Thank you, Rory, for stepping in. Appreciate you, man. The point is made, right? You need all the parts. Sure, maybe you can make a miraculous grab with one hand, but it's so much easier when you got two. Every defenseman in the league knows that. That's why they're trying to take out a hand. That's why they're trying to get in the quarterback's face so that he can't see stuff. You need all the parts, and you need them all contributing to the whole. Everyone, every person here, including me, wants a church that is on mission, that meets the needs of us and others in tangible ways. But how many of us are willing truly to say, I will then be the church. I will step in. I will meet the need. When I'm not the one that has the need, I will be one that meets the need. That's what love does. When you get in the game, you're not competing. I want us to be a complete body where everyone can experience and feel and know God's presence and live life in his kingdom. Every body has every part has a role to play. If you are part of the body of Jesus, the body of Christ, maybe you've heard that phrase before. What that means is like the church in the world. If you are part of Jesus' body, you've been brought in through his work on the cross, that also means that you are part of a body. When you become a Christian, you are given spiritual gifts. You become an eye, you become a hand, you become a foot. And he makes you part of his body. And then, here's what many Christians will do. All right, I'm a part of the body. If you're a part of the body, that means you need to be part of a body. Otherwise, you're just an eyeball rolling around the world, and it's weird, creepy, and gross. Okay? Sorry. You need to be part of a body. This is why I call, no. It's no. I'm not going to call it anything. When you hear people say like, oh, I don't need church. I follow Jesus. I'm not a part of a body. Okay, you're just a hand laying there. Like you are part of the body. Be part of a body. That's actually fine. It's not where you become less unique, less individual. This is where you find more meaning, greater value as part of something bigger than you. A place where you can actually contribute and depend on others as well. This is the beautiful vision that 1 Corinthians 12 gives us. So today, are we focused? Again, will there be seasons where you're the one? Like there's going to be days, I come in here sometimes and I'm like, man, I need to receive. I need something. But for the most part, I want to come and be a part of this church having already received from Jesus and going, I'm here to serve Jesus. I want to meet the needs. I don't want it to just be about what am I going to get out of the service today. I want to give. What did I give to the service? What did I give in service? There's a reason we call it service. What did I give? How did I contribute? How did I help somebody else get what they needed? And here's the crazy, beautiful, messed up thing about God's kingdom is that in doing that, you actually find that you get something too. In fact, you get more than you would have if you were just looking out for yourself, trying to get yours all the time. That's the way the world works. Jesus says the whole world is out to get theirs, to one-up one another, to get more attention, more praise, more money, whatever it is. Not so among you. The greatest among you will be your servant. I'll give you all a chance to do it. The greatest among you will be your servant. What greatness? Serve. You want to be the greatest? Be the least. You want to get the most? Give it away. That's what Jesus says. Part to play. Love doesn't compete, it completes. It's the third thing. Love fights to the final whistle. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 12 to 20, gets into the resurrection of Christ. And Paul says, if Christ is proclaimed as raised from the dead, how can some of you say that there is no resurrection from the dead? If you're watching The Chosen, you know this was actually a conversation back in Jesus' day. There were some religious leaders that said, no, there's no real resurrection of the dead. And Jesus actually sides with those that would say, yes, there is an actual resurrection from the dead. Paul doubles down on this and says, how can some of you still think that there's no resurrection from the dead? Because in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, if there is no resurrection from the dead, then Jesus didn't rise from the dead. And if Jesus didn't raise from the dead, what are we doing here? That's the Dave translation, okay? If Jesus didn't raise from the dead, you probably shouldn't follow him because it didn't really go well for him. That's the end of the Jesus story is suffering, rejection, and death. Unless he rose from the dead. Actually, historically, like tangibly, that people saw him. If that didn't happen, what are we doing here? That's what Paul says. And what he's doing is he's saying, love fights to the final whistle. I know this is hard. I know this is messy. I know that you don't want to keep on going. But keep on going. Why? Because there's victory in it. In the end, you win. Even when it looks like all hope was gone. Jesus, dead, gone. Victory is on the way. Victory is coming. Love doesn't give up even when it's hard. Why? Because the victory has already been won. I was watching, I shared with you guys how I made my kids watch Karate Kid a few weeks ago. Friday night, doesn't matter. The other night, I made them watch Mighty Ducks. Quack, quack, quack. Yes, did not think you'd quack in church today, all right? We were watching Mighty Ducks. Found myself getting a little verklempt. We're watching it. My son Josh, it's like 2 minutes left in the game. It's all tied up. He goes, my heart is beating so fast. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, man. Who knows? Okay? There's something about a comeback, right? Like that final finish that just puts you on the edge of your seat, and you're just like, don't give up. This is it. Right after Mighty Ducks, I took them to, it was like one of the suggestions, like, you might want to watch Miracle. And I was like, this one actually happened, right? This was the true underdog story of the 1980 American hockey team that despite all odds, didn't give up, kept on fighting to the final whistle, and oh my gosh, was that amazing. The Immaculate Reception. Any of you old enough to remember that one? The greatest football play of all time. It's true. Like, this is the definition of a Hail Mary. You know why they call it a Hail Mary, right? It's a prayer. You're just like, hope somebody catches that thing. But man, when it happens, there's nothing like it. You don't get that if you don't fight to the final whistle. You don't keep on going, even when it's hard. You give up. That's the end. Where do you want the end of your story to be? We get to choose that. We get to choose that, where the story ends for us. And I don't care what your situation is, your relational situation, your financial situation, the story of your life. Where do you want it to end? How do you want it to end? You get to choose to fight, and because of Jesus, you know the victory is yours. It is still coming. The best is actually yet to come. If I were to go into Back to the Future, maybe we'll do that one next weekend, right? If I were to do like a Back to the Future and like Marty McFly say, hey, here's who's going to win this game. There's different responses to that, and the response is what's important. I could sit down on the sideline then and go, all right, then I don't have to do anything, do I? We win the game. I don't even have to show up. I don't even have to play. Some of us are living with that level of do-nothing determinism, where we take something that's a little bit true, like, well, it's all in God's hands anyway. It's like there's nothing I can really do about it. God knows what's going to happen, and so I guess all we can do is hope. That's do-nothing determinism. Here's the other side of it, though. Confident contribution. If I were to say to you, you win this game, and then with 30 seconds left, I'm from the future, remember? I show up in your life, I'm like, I know you're down by 2 touchdowns, but you win this game. You could either go, all right, cool, I'm going to sit here and do nothing, or you can have confident contribution, knowing that, hey, I'm going to throw up the Hail Mary because it's getting caught. That enables you to fearlessly take risks and go, I'm going to try. I'm going to play my part. Why? Because it's going to work. There is victory in the end. I don't care what it looks like right now. We get to go. That's what Paul is saying, and that's what this has to do with everything else that we're talking about. When it gets hard, like last week, we talked about love persevering, pushing through. Why do we do that? Because the victory is ours. We can keep on going. There is healing, there's reconciliation, there's restoration, there's beauty, there's provision, there's goodness, there's salvation for the people that you're praying for. There is change that's possible. There is hope. Without Jesus and his resurrection, there's none. But because of it, it's always there. It's steadfast. It does not move. Love fights to the final whistle, and it wins as one. What this means is that because we're all one, we all win when any one of us actually win. That's what 1 Corinthians 14:26 says. It seems like it's just talking about, like kind of church order. Here's your order of worship for the day. What then, brothers? When you come together, each one has a hymn, a lesson, a revelation, a tongue, or interpretation. Let all things be done for building up. Everyone's going to bring something, and it should all be done to build up each other in God's kingdom. We win as one. We all make it one. And then when we do, when we all contribute, then we win as one. I don't know if you're into the Grammys, right? The artist gets up there and suddenly they pull out a list of like 87 people that made this moment possible, right? And we can roll our eyes or we can go, yeah, that's the truth of it, isn't it? Go all the way back to Mom and God. Yep, there are a lot of people that made this moment possible. I love the way that the defense specifically celebrates. Offensive players, like they'll get their touchdown and they'll do their touchdown celebration. They're a lot of fun. But the defense, you know what's awesome about the defense? They always celebrate together. If one of them does it, they all do it. They all gather around. Why? Because they are the defense. They are one. And a win for any of them is a win for all of them. It's not just look at me, right? We're moving beyond look at me. And we're even moving beyond look at you. That's not, honor might say, hey, look at you, look at you, look at you. But unity, contribution, love, that moves beyond even look at you to look at Jesus. We're all on this team. And he's the one. His victory is our victory. His win, our win. And because he's put us together, your win, my win. Because Jesus is doing something in this. Psalm 138, that's what it actually says. That God is the one that's fulfilling his purpose. It's not just what I've accomplished or you've accomplished. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Your steadfast love, it never ends. It never changes. It never goes away. It endures forever. Don't forsake the work of your hands. He's not going to. There's God's glory that's put on display when we all contribute. And it's not so that any one of us can shine, so that he will, so that his purposes are actually done. God did through it. That's the truth of a Super Bowl victory. There's only one Lombardi trophy. They might get moments of hoisting that thing. But in the end, it's the team. It's the organization. They're the ones that win as one. So I wanted to leave you with this today. Just like a puzzle. When you walked in, if your kids didn't take it, there should have been a puzzle piece on your seat. Maybe you just hold on to this for a minute. Maybe you spend some time asking. Maybe you want to receive some prayer from anyone around our church, or if you're watching online, just ask, hey, I want to pray over this with somebody, and you hold it. I would just encourage you, thank God. Celebrate what he's doing in your life. Celebrate the fact that you're here today, hearing his words for you. There was purpose in that. Say, God, thank you for the way that you made me. I'm not a piece of garbage. I'm valuable. I have a contribution to make. You called me. You made me. Would you show me what that is? Holy Spirit, I just pray that as we come to you, would you remind us that you knit us together in our mother's womb. You made us fearfully and wonderfully made. You planned in advance every day and the works that you have for us to do. Would you reveal them to our hearts, God? In Jesus' name, amen.